So this morning we drove to Cavendish to go out and walk the Cavendish Point Trail. And we weren't sure where the trail started. We saw a gentleman collecting kelp on the beach, so I went over to ask him if he knew where the trail started. And lo and behold, it's Clifford George, famous Newfoundland artist. So we started talking. He invited us over to his studio. We're in Clifford George back garden. Got two Newfoundland ponies here. They're beautiful.
That's Brandy. When he was 4 months old when we got him first.
Really?
And she was 5 months old up there. She's from the second generation of Newfoundland ponies, that one up there. Because when we started to save the pony, the foundation stock, they're mostly all dead now. And the ones you see around now are mostly from the new generation. This fella hooks up and we goes everywhere.
Aww.
He's my buddy. Yeah, I didn't hook him up, bring down the kelp today because I took his shoes off, right? He's going on a pasture now for the summer. He spend his summer with all Newfoundland ponies, won't you, Bob? See, they got two coats, winter and summer. Come on, Annie. Come on, come down and see everybody. Yes, boy.
She's like, no.
Not likely, she's saying.
Yeah. Oh, they're beautiful.
We got him in the movie, Kenneth, in the sleigh. I got an old-fashioned side sleigh.
Oh, do you?
And we hooks the sleigh up. There's some smart ponies, boy. All you got to do is show them what you want, see? And they're used to routine.
Mm-hmm.
And they know who respects them and who don't, and who is afraid of them and who is not. Like I had this stallion, Skipper of Avalon. He's still alive. He's 38 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow,
But he
that's
saved
a
Newfoundland
reverse.
pony, more or less. He did. Skipper did. Well, there was a woman across the street. I hooked Skipper up to go up to my mother's house one day. You know? And when I hooked him up, I takes hold of the reins. Skipper knows that's me. I'm at the reins, right? But Brenda said, I wants to take your pony. I'm going to drive the pony. I said, you can't drive the pony because he's going to run away on us. She said, well, she says, I'm only going to get you up by the reins. I said, yeah, but as soon as your hands goes on them reins, that horse is going to take off. As soon as she said go, I cut out to the reins, the horse bolted. I had John to hold on to him.
Oh.
He was smart enough to know that the woman was holding on his hands. It wasn't the one that knew about horses. See?
Wow.
They're smart. Well, we call down, what they call down Torbay Jingle. It's for going for Sunday evening rides. Now, Mrs. Leah, for instance, Spaniards Bay, years and years ago, used to go to church every Sunday with her Newfoundland pony hooked up to that cart. And when she died and the old yellow house was falling down, the man who was tearing it down and everything gave me that to fix up. So myself and my father have restored it to its original state.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful.
You see me going down the road that much and I feel like $1 million.
Probably look $1 million too, right?
Boy, Jesus, buddy, I think something over them ponies. And I'm going to buy some more old sleighs and carts soon. Sure, Heritage, I told Heritage once, I got sick, see? I had 2 back surgeries, 2 new hips. And I said, I'm getting rid of my sleighs and that. Do you want them for Heritage? You can put them on display in it. No, boy, give us a photograph, that's good enough. Lord Jesus, they didn't see the significance of this. The whole sleighs and everything. So now when I die, they'll go to the rooms, somewhere like that, in St. John's. But this could be a Heritage site, see?
I'm sure it probably will be.
Or maybe I'll give it to Charlie Burgess, Robert Burgess up there with his heritage site. Something like that. He appreciates it. My grandfather and everybody, this is the way it was when I grew up. In Newfoundland, what you got to do, I was thinking of this morning when I got out. You got to start preparing for spring, but you got to start preparing for winter right away.
Yeah.
I keep the ponies because I keep them favorably part of the time. I am all the time. Shirley says I'm living in the dark ages. I write poetry. I love poetry.
Do you?
Yeah.
You're a man of many talents.
Well, see, you know, like you're deep rooted so much into your past and the feelings for everything that is inside you. See, underneath that tree there, that's the skipper's nuts is buried there.
What's the skipper's
His
nuts?
testicles. Remember the stallion I told you about?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's where his testicles are buried under that tree. That's true one.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's the one of the stands that tore down the clothesline. It's nuts at that of that tree. We used to have Alice's Tea Party. Alice in Wonderland. We put it off over in the building. 10 years we did it.
Really?
That's all the posters there for it underneath them boards, look.
Huh.
A lot of history here.
So did you paint those boards?
Yeah, myself and Lisa and a little girl Ashley is in the community who was 20 years old now. She helped us when she was a little girl. She said, well, if I go and get all that stuff that it is, you'll see some treasure in there.
A fun tea party?
We had some parties. People came from all over the place to come to our party. That's an old skipper. That's Uncle Herb March there in Greens Harbour. And they got the horse tied on there now. She's there waiting for her to get back into the sleds to bring the wood out. So they're having a boil up, see? But in the meantime, the horse broke off a shaft. A shaft is what she pulls the wood with. So he's making a new shaft in the wood, see? With his axe. He's chopping it out in the woods, putting it back on the sled. And this whole fellow here is Jesse March from Greens Harbour. And he's sitting down putting wood on the fire. See, there's the kettle. He's boiling the kettle, and they got eggs on the fire. Look. That's called folk art.
There's a lot of detail in that.
Yeah, my father used to do a lot of this.
Wow.
And you carved that?
I carved that. And I made that harness too on the horse.
You're a talented man, that's for sure.
I don't do it as much as I did. Look at his face, look.
Yeah.
See, that's really the characters that lift you. Look, this guy got big ears, see him? Look at him glaring at you, look. Look. See, your grandfather would appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So you don't carve too much anymore, mostly just paintings now?
No, I carve every now and again. I'll get a memo and I'll do a carving or something. I'm teaching my nephew how to carve. That's why I did that. See, my nephew was loaded with talent. And what I did, I took all one winter to show him how to carve. So he's getting back into it again now.
Nice.
You'll see more in the house. You'll see my father's carvings and everything.
Also, art's been in your family for a while.
Yeah, all my life. My father gave me a pony when I was 14 years old. See, a little pony. That's why I got so much interest in the pony. See, I enjoyed bringing out his character. Uncle Herb was my grandmother's uncle.
He does have a lot of character in his face,
Haven't
that's
he?
for sure.
Now, he used to let his horse out in the spring of the year, Uncle Herb would. Uncle Herb March, there he is, look. Look. He'd let his horse out in the spring of the year. And his horse would go to tilting. That's across the bay, across the barrens. Long ways, 20-something miles.
Yeah, really.
And he'd go to the Labrador fishing. Now, that's a long ways up to the Labrador fishing on the old coil. Then he'd come back. And he wouldn't be home a week before that horse would come home. Every fall. She knew that Uncle Herb what time he came home. That's some coincidence, but it's not a coincidence. The horse knew.
Wow.
I wrote about him in Saltscapes magazine. I came ashore down there in Cavendish.
Oh, wow.
It died down around the point. So what I did, I got the fluke in it, and I brought it home and put it in an ant's nest, you see. And then the ants did the work for me, right? They dried it all out. But I wanted to find a musician, because see, every sound in that is different. Look. The hollow sound in it.
Yeah.
A good musician would make that into a piece of music, wouldn't he?
Oh, for sure.
First person that comes along now, they got musical talents. They can do something different.
That red one there with the brass looks pretty old.
Yeah, well, my father went in the woods and he cut that. And he made the names, look. There they are, handmade.
Wow.
And they got the brass tops up to somewhere, but yeah, handmade them, boy. And that's his bills, look. And that's my grandfather's bills and my great-grandfather's bills. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what started to ride in a horse open sleigh. That's some racking. Huh?
Yeah.
Now, you want me to tell you how they came to be?
Yes.
It was coming on spring, and the Labrador ice and the ice from the Arctic is coming up our bay, right? And on the ice there's all sorts of seabirds coming, and with the Labrador ducks, and time for everybody to get out and get a few ducks for the winter and everything like that, right? So you go out and boat until the ice comes right into the land, then the birds and everything is forced to go outside or stay. So when the birds was coming this year, there was thousands and thousands of ducks flying and flying, and pretty soon, up around the point, all the men got in their shelters with their 12 gauges, got in the shelter for the ducks, for the Labrador ducks. And they wouldn't shoot them because they were smart people. They say, no, don't shoot till Joe Lay gives you the cue to do it, because he knows they know when the birds are coming to the shore. They're in that big pool of water now where the ice was, but they'll come ashore dark. And pretty soon, boy, they all start coming for the shore. I'll never forget, I was only a little boy, right? And all of a sudden, brother, I saw that when he gave the okay, and there was fire coming out of them guns in the dark like you wouldn't believe. And when they all fired at one time, and then they went down and got their ducks. But in the meantime, up here in the community, there was a big pan of ice coming in with something on it, see? So I was looking at it, and I saw these white seagulls there, pure white. And I said to the old fellas there, well, how come the seagulls are white? They said, they're Icelandic seagulls. They came here with that dolphin on the ice. They're eating the dolphin, so they chased that dolphin all the way up here, up the bay, right? Oh. So I went down, picked up the dolphin, I pulled him to shore, put him over on the beach by the ants nest, see? And boy, in the fall of the year, I went down and got him. And I got all his bones, see?
Wow.
To tell the story about the dolphin that came ashore and went away.
So they're all dolphin bones.
That's it, his whole rack right there. And there's some over in the bucket I couldn't put around my neck, big ones. So when I'm telling stories, sometimes I wear a rack of bones.
Jeez. That's quite the story.
It's quite a story, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. You want me to tell you a story? This is a good place to tell a story, isn't it? Now, see, I'm going to tell you a story. It's all about children in the mauve of the evening. And in the mauve of the evening, it starts to get darker, but the sun still stays on the water, and the whole land wash is a mauve colour. And three little boys, 4 little boys are down in the beach with their grandfather, sitting down looking at the sunset. And all of a sudden, the little boys see this furry thing over in the water. It's like a big osier or something there, you know, just fluttering on the water. See, just making little sounds on the water like that. And the old grandfather says, I wonder what that is. And the boy, he said, call the shore. He said to the little boys, we'll see what it is. So they whistled to whatever it was. And it came ever so gently into the beach. And the little boys put their hands in the water. And this was a little duck with all his down, a black and yellow duck with all his down on it. Full down, like he was born about 3 weeks, right? Mm-hmm. And he was nibbling at the little boy's fingers. Aww. And up between their fingers, and they were talking to the little bird and everything, being real kind to him. But in the meantime, the little bird swam down to where the old grandfather was. And when he swam down there, he grew big. And he had this big, long, kelpy whisker that came down from his nose all the way down like a big old beard. It was like kelp, right? And his beard was like kelp. But as he grew bigger and bigger, they said, what's that, grandfather? He said, boys, he said, that's not a little duck. That's an old sea dog, he said. That's an old sea dog. And he said, I knows what he's saying. He said, I can listen to him because I knows his language, he said. I know the language of a sea dog. A sea dog is a big old seal. An old boy's old seal, see. So he said to the boys, he said, you know what, he said? That old sea dog wants to go home with us. He said, he wants me to give him a home. So he said, let's take him with us. So they took the old sea dog with him. And he went up into the community and he befriended all the little children in the community. They were playing with the old sea dog, and the sea dog was very happy and everything. And he chased grandfather everywhere grandfather went. The old sea dog was with him. He particularly liked the old grandfather more than he did the children now, right? So anyway, the time comes and there's funerals in it. So one of the little boys dies. So everybody goes to the funeral, and the old sea dog sits up in the front of the church by the old skipper, the old grandfather, see. And in the meantime, other children died in the community until they were all gone. The children that were down the beach, they all died. So people in the community said, that sea dog, like everything years ago, people wouldn't let you keep a pet crow because it was bad luck. If you had anything, anything happened in the community, it was bad luck. It was the crow's fault. So you had to kill the crow, someone did. I had a pet crow and someone killed that, right? So anyway, the old sea dog, now they start to question the sea dog. He got to go. He's bringing bad luck to the community, children, you know, dying and all this. So the old grandfather said, well, I'll go and try to find out. I'll go in the woods and meditate. And he said, I'll come out and probably I'll have the boy. This is happening. But in the meantime, people looked down the end of the community and here he was, boy, the big old sea dog, coming up the road, right? And he looked out on the headlands, out over the water. And he strolled out through the grass, and when they got on the headlands, he took a new form. And he took the form of a big eagle, like, with a red head and long red legs. And he was enormous, and he was flapping his wings. And before he went off into the sunset in the mauve of the evening, 4 more little younger sea dogs turned into eagles with red legs and red heads, and they flew off into the sunset. So when the grandfather came out of the woods, they asked him, what do you know? He said, I knows everything. He said, I know what I brought into the community. He said, that was the devil. He said, they took the form of a sea dog to come into the community, robbed the souls of the little boys.
Wow, quite the story.
Yes. I wasn't expecting that ending.
No, were you? So you got to be careful, haven't you?
You gotta be
You
careful.
got to be careful when you pick it up from the beach, boy. Well, this is pretty safe, eh?
Yeah, that one's already gone.
But that old sea dog was a wise old devil, wasn't it?
Wow. We do a lot of beach combing. I don't know. I have to rethink that.
But that's a good old story. I think
That's
it
a
is.
that's a good story, yes.
Yeah.
See, if they're passed down, you got to tell them. You know what I think they told that for? The old people? To keep you from going in down the landwash, afraid you'd drown or something.
Ah.
Because one time I was up on the beach and it was spring of the year and all the rocks was turning out from the waters coming from the mountains in Bag of Hair, right? And I was over standing up on the beach. I didn't know the danger that the beach was foundering underneath me because I would have gone out the brook, and pretty soon boy, Clifford George grabbed a bit of Sleighs neck and on me. Get the fuck home, you little devil. He said, you could be drowned here, and I got a licking for that when I went home.
Wow.
So maybe that's the moral of the story.
Yeah. Keep the children safe.
Keep the children safe, yeah. Plane, look, he made that for me when I was a young boy. They used to fly on the wood gallows. The wood gallows is a place where you stored your wood up and down,
Oh yeah?
and he put a post there and put that on it. That's not young, boy, that's not.
Is it made out of wood?
Yeah, it's carried out of a junk of wood.
Jeez.
Oh,
Wow.
see, that's how it went on a post, look. And if you look here, I'll show you something now, if you dust it off. That's the window, see?
Yeah, I
You
see
see what
that.
they're made of? Felt tins. Putting felt on, years ago before shingles, you put felt on your roof.
Ah.
And the tins went on, and so father used that, see, he had a tail on it, but it blew off, look.
Yeah.
Pretty neat, isn't it?
It's
Very neat.
unique.
We just walked out of the shed here and somebody left a present for him.
Left me dinner. You like them, you think?
And that was herring?
I'll put them on for you now if you want some. You ever see a mackerel?
Yeah, I've seen a mackerel.
You,
Yeah.
you see the fingerprints on it?
I
See?
think so.
There's a thumbprint on one side and a fingerprint on the other.
Oh.
And you know how come that's there?
No.
The devil grabbed the mackerel. He said, I got you, and the mackerel took off. When you see a mackerel now, you'll have to look. I'll fill them all, and I'll throw that down there for Shirley. That's for a garden.
So nothing goes to waste.
No, that's for the garden. That'll make everything grow, see? She'll bury that by her trees. Quite a few, isn't it?
It is. It's quite the haul you've got there.
Yes, I did move in the yard.
You must have done that a few times in your life.
Yes, that's right. See, you know, a fella come here one time and he said, boy, he asked me what I did for a living, so I told him everything. Boy, he said, you live some lives. We had to survive. I worked in the fish plant when I was 14 years old.
And there is a fish plant right in town here?
Did a little Arctic fisheries. 50
okay.
cents an hour. I'll tell you a story now. 50 cents an hour. Right? $24.50 a week. Got that? That's a big check, $24.50 a week. So, you get your check, $24.50. And you got to think of a roast of meat now. A roast of meat, not filet mignon, a roast of meat. I didn't know what a filet mignon was, right? But I knew that what a roast of meat burned black was, because that's the way the Newfoundlanders did them. They burned them black in the stove, but they were good, they were cooked good. There's no germs in them. So anyway, I used to take out a girlfriend, see? So I took out the girlfriend. $3.50, I could get a plate of chips, gravy, dressing, onions, and a Coke. $3.50.
Wow.
With my girlfriend. That'll be check. I still got money left, right? So I meet this woman I'm married to, Shirley. She was my pen pal. She lived in Montreal.
Oh, wow.
So she comes home, see? So I goes down, and I says, well, any chance of a date? She said, yeah. She said, I'll go out with you, she said. I said, I'll be down tomorrow evening to pick you up. Evening is 2 o'clock in Newfoundland, you know that? Evening is not after 5 o'clock. So I went down for 2 o'clock to pick her up. She says, it's not evening yet. I said, nope, it's evening for me. So she said, I said, where would you like to go for supper? Kinmount Road, she said, in St. John's. The Kinmount restaurant, that was a Chinese restaurant, see? And a steak and everything there. I didn't know any of the steaks anyway. Good story, boy. So I goes in, see, and I sits down at the restaurant, put the suit of clothes and everything. I make believe like I'm the big shot. I didn't know fuck all, but nothing, right? All I knew, I got my check, $24.50. And the waiter comes in, what are you having? Shirley says, filet mignon. Oh, Jesus, I said, what's that, a woman? So I said, I'll have filet mignon too. So pretty we have dessert and everything, see? So back then, you know, like a long time ago, I wouldn't have much money, but it was a lot of money to me because I only had that little bit of money. Mm-hmm. And I just drove in town with 64 Dodge Slant 6, right? You know, I had to put the gas in that. So out comes the waiter, and he was paying for the bill. Oh, I said, I'm paying the bill. So I paid for the bill. It was $24.50. Oh. He fucking said I had to be there.
That would have been a lot of money back then.
So I know what filet mignon is now. So all them years, I learned my lesson that day.
Well, we could have bought groceries for a month on that.
Yeah, back then you could. But my father said, my grandfather said, Clifford, you marry that girl. She's good for you. You marry her, boy. And I did. I don't regret it.
And you're still with her?
Yeah, but then she says to me, she says, I'm not marrying you because you got to go to art school. She said, I said, what? Because I was good at it, had a bit of talent. She said, you got to go to art school. I said, boy. I said, what have I got to do? So then I only had grade 9. So I had to go in and take upgrading in the College of Trades and Technology. So I was there for a little while. And Buddy says, boy, you're smart. I could do long division, equation, and everything, right? He said, you're not stupid. He said, boy, geez. He said, we're moving you a hidden class. He said, we're putting you right to the top. So I finished that and went and took art.
Wow.
And the rest is history.
Nice.
So that's what she made me do. Now she gets pissed off because I won't give her half the money sometimes I'll sell the I told her the other day, I said, you made me, that's it. There you got to put up with me. You see me, the signs, you fetch, I fetch?
Yeah.
That's all about fairies.
Oh, really?
Fetches are people that you see. A fetch is something you see like a premonition of yourself, you know? If you see a fetch before dark, that's good. But if you see a fetch just after dark, it means someone in your family is going to die, right?
Really?
Yeah, we were afraid to go out after dark, boy. The drung is a distance between 2 fences in the dark, right? And you're going up the drung. Before you get to the end of the drung, they tell you you're going to meet the fairies. You're going to meet the fairies might lead you astray, or you're going to see a fetch. Your fetch is you see yourself, right?
Yeah.
Uncle Hayes Brace used to come down there and catch his sheep, see? So he'd come down to catch his sheep in the fall of the year, see? And he'd bring a little piece of flan net off of little night dresses and stuff like that. And that's where you crossed their legs and put them in the boxcar. He'd put his big horse up on the side of the road. And then he'd tell you a ghost story, see? So you catch the sheep before dark, right? He'd say, no, you got to catch my sheep before dark. You got 5 cents. I call them nickel sheep. We got 5 cents each. And they used to go through the woods everywhere. We chased them. Let the bread, stitches in your side, bending over trying to get your bread. Next thing, later on, even you have them all caught, right? But in the meantime, he told us this story this day. On the way down, he said, I had a strange encounter. He said, coming up over them big hills coming down out of Greens Harbour. You know, at the bottom of that hill, he said, I heard a big tree fall. He said, the biggest tree I ever heard in my life, and I heard some little people singing out, timber, and it fell right down in front of their horse. He said, and frightened her dead on the way down. And he said, then they all jumped in my boxcar. He said, no, the horse is not going to make it to the top of the hill. Oh, no, come on. He said, they all started jumping in the boxcar, the fairies did. And he said, just before I got to the top of the hill, the old horse, he said, he didn't slow down. He carried him right to the top of the hill. He didn't give in. So he said, I heard them when they all jumped out and went under the bridge and went up that river to Jimmy Rose Hill. So you say, now, then he said, now I got to get them sheep home before dark, because if I'm going up the road and it says at that same spot you'll see a fetch. So if I sees me fetch in the daylight, there's a likeness of him, right? if I sees a fetch, that means I'm going to die. But he said, if I sees a fetch after dark, no, that means I'm going to live if I sees a fetch in daylight.
Yeah.
But he said, if I see you don't catch them sheep, I got to go up after dark, and that fetch comes out, it means I'm going to be dead. I'll never be down here catching sheep again. He had us believing all that. We weren't naive, we were just enjoyed the stories.
Yeah.
Breeze.
I was going to say, that looks familiar. It looks like we're shooting a video of that house.
Yeah, and you know what I did? That stellar house looked terrible. The grass mold. I put rock underneath it, like it's supposed to be.
I love the colors you use in your painting. It's absolutely beautiful.
I haven't got it really finished, but almost finished.
The colors are so vibrant.
Because that's me there. It's like that's Jackie painted that. My friend Jackie, she went to art school. I taught her art, and she paid tribute to me by giving me that painting.
Very nice.
And Dillo Dicky. That was a rooster out in Dillo. And then I painted with Jimmy Kimmel, with that, all that record with Jimmy Kimmel. The rooster kept crowing, so I painted them.
Oh.
Yeah, and I love the mess I got here. I knows where everything is. I like that one there, look. It's up Conception House. See, I did that on location, right?
Very nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
And that's Bunyan's Cove, that one there. The big old rock with the trees growing at the top of it. That's across the bay.
Oh, you're one talented man.
That's all I ever did was paint and draw. Well, I could draw all my life. That's all I ever wanted to do.
It's nice that you have that passion and you're able to, you know,
Do it.
paint and
Do what you
It's
love.
all about
Yeah,
passion.
do what you
don't
love.
have it. Well, I like the way I capture. See, there's a big old church there in that community. And Newtown Church is where all the, remember the sealing disaster? And all the people died, like dead on the ice.
Oh yeah, I've
That's what
heard
they
of
did in that
stories of that, yeah.
Yeah. I say somewhere in that graveyard. Don't want to drill on that though.
We actually met Clifford down at the beach in Cavendish this morning, and we were actually asking directions for a trail, and he introduced himself, and I recognized his name. Famous Newfoundland artist here.
And we got invited to his studio.
Yes, and you got to sign me guest book and everything before you leave, but I'm going to show you this one. See, I'm here, right?
Icing on the cake.
And there was COVID, see? It was COVID times, right? And Jesus, I was spooked out this day. So I scribbled something on a piece of cardboard. That's not the one there. This one here is it. I like this one.
Wow, that's
beautiful.
nice.
Down Fairies, right?
Beautiful.
Well, see, I do abstract too. People say, what are you doing abstract for? You don't know how to do abstract, but God, Jesus is inside you. You're 74 years old. There's abstract in your life, didn't it? I got nice few abstracts. That's called the COVID.
Wow. That dark face.
Yeah. The dark face, right, and the gleaming eye. And the people walking away looking at the loneliness. That's when COVID took over, and I had to come up here in the studio and stay there.
You decided to get it out while you were thinking about it.
Yeah, so I painted that first, and then I did a lot of painting since then.
Wow.
But that's all abstracts there, boy, look.
That story is right on canvas. Be there forever.
The abstracts here, look.
Wow.
This one.
Beautiful colors.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, now give you. Pick one out for yourself. You got a ton to pick from. Just don't pick that old sheep, that's not an abstract. Pick one out now. There's one there you can't have that one. You can't have them two. They're spoken for. There's one there called the preacher. Oh, here he is, look. See him?
Oh yeah, I do see them.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got this buddy who paints abstract all the time. He loves my little abstracts.
I like that one.
That one or the preacher?
Put down right there. No, I keep the preacher, see. He said, I know that old fella, sure, he gave me an abstract once. Sandy's Point, that's where they shoot birds.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's a real honor.
Yeah, you're welcome, brother. Glad you came up. We're having a bit of fun here, boy.
It's been great.
That's Birchie Bay. That old house is there set in the woods.
Yeah.
And they're gone to Boston to 30, 40, 50 years. And the house just sits there, so I just painted it as if there was people living in it.
And what kind of paint do you use?
Acrylic, heavy-bodied acrylics. It's like oil, you know it's heavy bodied.
Yeah.
When you put it down, it leaves this mark. Slippery paint don't do it for me. Now in my show in there, Christina Parker, that one's not in there. That one's over there, it's down the house, down in the studio. But this one, right here, Hibbs Hole it's called. That one is in my show. A man from Winnipeg just bought it. A big, great big painting. It's the biggest painting in the show. I paint every day. I went down for us to catch the sheep, told us the ghost stories. And that's his big old horse. And that harness right there and all the men, his father made that, and his woman worked up in the post office. And he asked her for the old leather coat she had at home. And she brought up the leather coat, look, and he made all that, look. Made all that harness and the little studs, he put all that in there himself. And that box cart works just like a real box cart, dumps and everything like a real box cart.
Wow. Is that your carriage in this picture?
Yeah, that's Misty and I. She was one smart horse, my son. She could do her stuff.
And even your colors in that are just
That watercolors are vibrant.
amazing.
That's Newfoundland ponies, look. That's the Newfoundland ponies that I got to know and saved.
Beautiful.
And this is Jake. He was powerful, boy.
Oh, wow.
Some stallion he was.
Wow, beautiful.
He did now. They put a bathtub there so he found a drink out of. And he had electric fence, so he hit his arse off electric fence, so he kicked the bathtub down over the hill. That's an old Trigger, another Newfoundland pony.
Beautiful.
That's Babe Walsh's pony down in Fairland. That's the old Newfoundland pony there. Look at the winter coat on this one. It's all about winter coat. 16 ponies in that barn when we were buying them off of the meat trucks. And then we get homes for them. See, we take them, and then we get homes for them. Right till people take them and look after them. Yeah. You get a home for them. See, then you'd save from going out for meat. But one I bought 3 times.
Really?
Yeah, first one fella took her and he sold her again. She went up to Shea Heights and I had to buy her up there. Down North Shore. This is in Loranabo.
Wow.
So you capture the mood when you're doing this. This is called lobster dinner. It's hard to believe it's lobster dinner, but
Yeah.
I had lobster. A woman came here from Norway, and she wanted to film me for 2 days. So she filmed me, and she bought a big painting, and then we had lobsters.
Oh,
And I
really?
painted that right after the lobster dinner so she can see me paint.
That's a beautiful one.
I must show you 2 people. It's very important in my life. 3, 2, 2. Now, these are called the horse mechanics. They're the people that helped me save the Newfoundland pony.
Wow.
There you go. That's Art, that's Roy. Roy died, Art's still alive. There's Art, he was here last week.
Wow.
Having a cup of tea downstairs. I painted him a long time ago. I wouldn't sell them, ever. They were rough and ready. And they were smart, and they were kind, and they told the truth, and they were real.
So how many ponies do you figure you guys saved?
Well, we saved enough to, well, when we were at it, there's only 60 left, so we saved enough to get the breed going. I kept Skipper here for years with me, the stallion, and I took them all over Newfoundland to breed the mares. And I took them one time to its education week into McDonald's Royal School, and I took Skipper in. Do you want me to bring him in? See, all I had to do was open the trailer door because he'd run in because he knew where he was going. He was going to make love. He loved it, fine. You know, he knew fucking well he was there, so he was in heat. I had to take him there. So anyway, goes to McDonald's driving the youngsters to come for recess, education week with their apples. He don't give a shit. He's looking over the top of their head like this. Where's the mares? There's no mares here. The man that brought me the herring today, that's his boat one.
Nice.
They're saying in mackerel there. That's a watercolor for you south. And there's one in my show of this one. Great big painting of this one. That's in green spine. And Jenkins Cove in Twilligate is a special place, Jenkins Cove. That's where this house is, Jenkins Cove. Twilligate. I tried to capture where the sun was going down and the lovely atmospheric conditions there around that old house, right?
His father did this sketch right here?
They wanted me to do sketches for Blaketown Pond, the Beothuk hunting up here in Blaketown Pond, because in 1611, 1612, when Guy came over, that's the first place they found Beothuk was here on this shore. So what I had to do was capture them hunting caribou. There was lots of caribou around here then, see? Now I got a whole lot of them here somewhere. The antique sketches, but there's some more here, look.
Wow, they're fantastic.
Yeah, so that's the one they picked for Calvert. I had to do a great big painting of that.
Gorgeous.
So what I did was a series of, I got a pile of sketches I did for him over there for to get the right team and everything. And then I did the watercolors. It was a lot of work.
And what a privilege that was. We invited over to Clifford George studio.
He had some great stories to tell. His artwork is fantastic. We just had a great afternoon with him.
We sat down with him and his wife at the table, had a cup of tea and some biscuits and some homemade partridge berry jam.
It was so good. The first time I've ever had it. It was delicious.
Yeah, it was a real honor.
Thank you.